Y'all argue about some voting rights shit. Let's go.
All right. Kurt's got energy today.
Voting Rights Act.
Must have been some Reggie.
To me, it's just this just another example of America being America, right? The ideals that we portray to the world are not the ideals that we actually live in under the country. We portray ourselves as the freest democracy in the world. Everyone has a say. Everyone has an opportunity in America. If they work hard, pull themselves up by their bootstraps, you can make it. But this particular thing just lets you know it's 2022 and we're still fighting for voting rights. And it's actually a real thing. Like
we are fighting for voting rights.
And that's why I wanted somebody else to put it in perspective for me, because I don't be knowing what be going on down south because I'm not down there, but I do now that I got to go to Birmingham frequently. Like I talk to these people down there and I hear that they do have some type of struggle where people be waking up one day when it's like about to be election time and don't be having voting rights no more, and they gotta go and reapply, and you can't get same day voting rights. So like people be having all these issues, but I don't get why people be having issues.
But it's an ignorance.
Because here, I mean, it's very easy. Bro. You just go and you vote once you register. Nobody takes it away.
The rules are very simple to vote, bro.
No, but I don't want to diminish it to that, because I know that I'm also talking to very intelligent people who, like my man just this week, two of my men just this week that I work with. These are kids, not kids, but they Gen Z, so we call them kids, but they're over 21. They're college graduates. They just graduated from college. They were here just this week fighting for voting rights. Got locked up out on the Capitol for having a rally out on the Capitol.
So part of this, right?
And so they're fighting for something, and these are very intelligent people.
But they're being used on a regular basis. They're being used as pawns. Do you know the biggest thing in the voting rights act that they're trying to get passed? You know what the biggest thing in there is? It doesn't even have nothing to do with black people, because black people have the right to vote, right? The biggest thing that they're trying to do is make it so that illegal immigrants can vote. So understand. When you're out there voting for this law that you probably didn't read all the way, understand that as a black person, right, in America, voting for this law is going to X your vote out, because all the Democrats want to do is make it so that all the illegal aliens that they keep pouring into the country, they give them the right to vote, and your vote no longer exists. See, the Democrats are smart. They see the threat. Black people are waking up and they're getting hip to the Democrats' bullshit. So what do the Democrats need to do? The Democrats need a whole nother demographic of people to cultivate and make them serial voters.
I got this one.
The only they got niggas out here talking about you shouldn't have to have no ID to vote. What the fuck you mean you shouldn't have an ID to vote? Any nigga you just coming in and vote?
And that's the wild part, is like, how do we agree that people supposed to have IDs for everything else, but then be like,
right? This is crazy. Like
it's really
insulting to our intelligence. You don't have to necessarily show they're talking about like an actual voter ID, like you gotta register and get an actual voter ID. They're not talking about just having ID though. That's the difference. And so like when we go to vote in Maryland, I don't even have to show where I'm registered at anymore. Pre-pandemic, I did have to go to my specific, location, and I didn't have to show anything. I just had to show my ID. But because I'm at my specific location, they have me on a roster and they just mark my name off, and I'm good.
Your man now in the pandemic.
But hold on though. In the pandemic though, it got even freer. Like I just had to show up to anywhere. I ain't even show up to my regular location. I showed up to a location, told them my name. They gave me a voter card, and I walked in and voted. They ain't even check my ID at that joint. It didn't mark my name all day, check my ID. They gave me a voter card when I told them my name, and they let me go in. So I thought that was weird. But pre-pandemic, there was, you didn't have to show ID, but they're actually asking you for a voter ID. You got to get a voter ID.
So what we're looking at right now, we're looking at a war between Democrats and Republicans for votes, right?
Yeah, and so one thing people bring up is adding hurdles, because I also do understand, like I don't even be wanting to go to DMV to renew my ID. So I do get why adding a voter ID is another ID for people to have to go get when they already don't even be having IDs for the damn selves is a hurdle from getting people to vote.
You might lose
so I
your
get both sides. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, there are people who are not citizens of the United States who came here legally who are voting.
And that's real too, because they're putting in the effort because they want to. I think there's a level of effort that comes with immigrants who coming over and trying to like insert their humanness. They're trying to insert the fact that they have a life and they want to implement that life somewhere.
I want to ask them
versus people who are here. Hold on real quick. Versus people who are here who like. We here and we think this is supposed to work, but I don't see no fruits of my labor over the course of these 50 years. And so I don't think this works. And so they don't even try. And I get why after 50 years of not seeing some shit work versus somebody who thinks that this shit works because they've been sold a dream that it works. They come over here way more ready and willing to do something, not realizing that the people that's over here not participating, they're not participating because it works and we just don't know. It's because we have evidence of it not working. But then you have this other side that's also like, nah, you just didn't have the strength in numbers yet, and now you getting the strength in numbers, and so the shit really does work. So maybe it's two sides. We sway the vote but every what time. It really is, exactly, and that's what it is. What it really is you got to understand that locally the shit really does work. Maybe nationally and big picture, yet it doesn't. But all of this is trickle down effects. And right now we get into somewhere where you start to see where it works. And the reason why it works is because if you just look at the Bible Belt alone, that's where all that shit was turning blue at for real. And that's because that's where they were working to mobilize this vote.
So who didn't have the right to vote? Who didn't have the right to vote?
Before it wasn't whether people did or did not have the right. It's whether they had the knowledge to even go about doing it prior to. This Trump shit put people really in a panic to go and start getting active is what I really believe. I think Obama got black people initiated a little bit, which was a smart move by Democrats. Let's put the black dude in, because then black people will start believing in it, because this is a new generation of black people who we can now convince that this matters. And then the anti-Obama was Trump, and it was the other side that needed that because they knew they weren't going to get our vote. So they had to get the anti-us, which is the super opposite side. But what they really don't realize is, and I know Democrats are going to disagree with me on this shit, and there are probably Republicans who might even disagree with me because they really believe Trump is a whole other shit. But I really think he was like this weird ass dark horse who got in there because he knew how to play on those people's emotions over there. Absolutely. He knew he wasn't going to get us, and so he didn't even try to get us. But he also understood that in order to get in and make some type of change, I got to play on where I can go. And those people were going to believe in his rhetoric and his bullshit enough to get in. But then when he got in, it wasn't enough visible things happening for us to realize he's not actually against us, y'all. It's really just rhetoric. The anti-us is what we actually be out here voting for, and that nigga got all the rhetoric in the world to get us to convince us that he's with us, and he's not. But that dude over there actually kind of was. He wasn't all the way, but he kind of was more than what anybody we've ever voted for is. And so we just got duped, and now we look stupid. And I just hope by 2024 the world ain't fucked up enough that if something, not necessarily him, but if something like him was to come along again, we realize like if he does actually get in and they're in office and actually making changes, pay attention to that shit and don't just believe this media that we've all made very clear is fluke.
Shout out to Kirk. This nigga's wait.
I dress myself in Ultra Suede. I dress myself in
We sit here and argue this shit all the time. Like, it ain't a left or right thing. It's realizing who's playing the fucking game. Niggas are playing games with our lives, and we just letting them, man. That shit is wild to me.
So look,
how do we not decipher that shit?
So look, it's a whole big thing about the Voting Rights Act that's super important that you alluded to that's missing the conversation. I like how you like to frame it as a national issue, immigrant issue, who gets to vote. But one thing we're missing in the argument and are the most critical pieces, right? Gerrymandering.
I was gonna bring that up,
right? Gerrymandering is a super important issue dealing with voting rights, right? It's like the cheat code to winning these local elections that actually affects a black person's everyday life. Who's in charge, who the DA is, who their sheriff is, who these local things where every day it wakes up, these things affect your life, and they can affect your life through gerrymandering. It's like, all right, somebody progressive can win the election, and these motherfuckers will go in the back room like, nah, we can't have this happen again. We about to just redistrict this whole shit. Where all the niggas live at? Let's change the voting line and put it along this line down here, so all these niggas get voted in this one little corner, and we can vote for everybody else over here to guarantee we win the next time. Like, that's the type of shit that's going on that the Voting Rights Act protects. We're talking about access to voting. When we're talking about closing polling stations, let's say you've been living in Hinesville your whole life, right? And you've been voting at the fire station up the street. And on poll day, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get up and go to Hinesville and vote at this station because I done voted here for 10 years. And you get to the Hinesville station, they say, well, Johnny Republican says we don't have enough money to fund this, so this polling station is closed. The next closest polling station is 15 miles away from your house. Depending on what you had to do that day, you might say, fuck it, I'm not driving 15 miles to go vote. Okay. And they're counting on things like that. We also talk about the Voting Rights Act when we talk about that ID thing, right? If you get a ballot mailed to your house and you show up with that registration ballot to vote, and you've been a registered voter, like the instances of people switching identities, committing voter fraud, if anybody ever Googles the instance of voter fraud, it's like less than 1%. And the motherfuckers who actually get caught with vote,
I think it was up in 2020.
Let's give it 5%, right?
I would say about 60, but
you said 60. That's
the amount of people that voted in 2020.
That'd be QAnon, right? That's 60%. That's QAnon.
Call it what you want.
But let's
conspiracy
say,
Kirk over here.
Let's say it was 9%, right? Nationally, that is not significant enough based upon the amount of people that vote to do any type of legislation for ID. And we've been running our voting system for close to a century. It's been working. Don't try to find a problem somewhere where there's never been a problem. They try to, like Trump tried to create a whole voting commission to find voter fraud. Paid millions of dollars to find voter fraud. Was he able to find it? No.
All right. So let me.
So let me surmise what I'm talking about in terms of this.
Hold on.
In terms of this law.
I didn't graduate from college. What does that mean?
So the importance of understanding the Voting Rights Act is not really about national politics. It's about how you on an everyday basis live in your community and how you have access to vote. That's you, your grandmother, your grandpa, everybody in the community have the opportunity to participate in this democracy, because they say it's a democracy, every vote counts. But we know the conservative strategy is to limit the amount of votes.
Okay, so let's talk about this gerrymandering thing, right? I agree. Gerrymandering is a problem, but it goes back to my original point. This whole thing is about Democrats and Republicans vying for power. If you talk to any white person in the South, right, their major complaint is yuppies from California, Colorado, and New York moving down there in droves, changing the voting patterns, right? Yes,
because they can't be bigots no more.
No. So, but no, I mean, they're all bigots. They're
like,
all bigots.
Damn, I can't.
No.
I can't you mean I can't do this no more?
I didn't cut you off. I didn't cut you off.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. I sat here and let you talk.
I just talked through it.
I did not cut you off. I didn't say anything while you were talking.
I had to say, let me surmise. So that's why nothing cut me off.
All I asked you was, what does surmise mean? Because I didn't graduate from college. But anyway, gerrymandering. Okay.
You went to college.
I didn't graduate. I allegedly went. That's what I told my parents. But so with this whole gerrymandering thing, right? That's a war between Democrats and Republicans. Like I said, if you talk to any white person in the South who's from the South, they're seeing droves of people who they call yuppies come into their communities and sort things and change things around, right? And introducing things to them that they don't necessarily like. The Democrats do the same thing. Let me give you a very good example of gerrymandering. It's funny to me too, because all the people that you saw marching in DC the other day, a lot of DC politicians, won't name no names, were all marching for voter rights, right? But little do you know, the DC City Council almost unanimously voted for gerrymandering right in DC. Navy Yard, the Navy Yard section of Southeast, which is full of what?
The whites.
That's going to be Ward 8 now. Everybody from Trayon Johnson to, Trayon White, Trayon Johnson.
But yeah, that when you mentioned the redistricting, I was like, yeah, they doing it right now.
All of these motherfuckers are out here talking about voting rights and gerrymander. They just gerrymandered the blackest part of DC. The same motherfuckers that's out here marching for voting rights just gerrymandered DC. They're about.
I also thought Navy I was already Ward 8 though.
No. It's not Ward 8. It's Ward 6. Navy Yard is about to be Ward 8 now.
So would that would that hurt or help the residents of Ward 8?
That's gonna hurt them.
How so?
Because now
more white people are
now
not going to vote. Here's the big interest as those people on the other side of the river.
Here's the biggest problem. A report just came out that they have cleaned the Anacostia River to the point where now it can be considered
swimmable
beach property.
It can be swimmable.
So now Navy Yard, which previously didn't have no control over that river because it's controlled by Ward 8. Now, all of a sudden, the residents of Navy Yard have a piece of that.
So can I just tell you?
So the gerrymandering is also happening by the same fucking Democrat niggas that you just saw marching for this fake ass voting suppression law are doing the same thing here. They all do it. Democrats and Republicans both do it to their advantage.
Real quick.
The real issue here with this voter suppression act that the Democrats are playing is a play for them because they can see the black vote slipping out of their hands. So what they're trying to do right now, and I'm telling you, I'm calling it right now, they're trying to legalize the votes of millions of illegal immigrants. That's what they're doing. If you read the actual law, there's little in there that really affects black people besides the fact that you may have to get a fucking ID. That's the only thing that could hurt us.
So you can't gloss
slow down.
over that.
I'm not finished because that's a slap in the face. Because now you're saying
that's important though because the reason why they doing
hold up, no. Let me finish.
I'm about to help you. I'm not saying it's even important against you. I'm about to say I'm helping you. It's important because we are still legal in this country, so you can go get that ID. They're blocking it because they want to block the illegals from being able to vote. And so you can't get an ID if you're an illegal immigrant because you can't even get a regular ID. So you won't be able to get a voter ID. And so you just got to take that extra hurdle, dog. It sounds like it's to keep us out, but it's really because we're just lazy. And I don't want to make it sound like that, but it really is. We gotta stop making excuses. I would disagree with that because
that's all I was about to say. It makes us look dumb.
Yeah, no, because they're really blocking these people out.
Let's talk about fundamentally, right? Is it a law that you have to have an ID to live in this country?
You have to bring vaccine papers to go in a fucking restaurant.
Yeah, so don't argue for one and don't argue for the other because you be with the vax papers, boy.
The same motherfuckers that saying it's not fair to vote.
So technically,
are the same motherfuckers that tell you gotta disclose your medical information.
I hear y'all.
To go in a fucking restaurant or a bar or a gym.
I hear y'all.
So
hold on, no. Let me finish.
Which answer do you want though?
I hear y'all yelling. Yeah.
I just want to know which answer you want. Do you want the real answer or the conspiracy
answer? I want the real answer.
The real, I mean, I don't know because I like the conspiracy answer as the real one. You technically do not have to have an ID to live in this country.
You don't have
technically. However, the real answer is you do kind of need one if you're going to navigate in the society of this country.
Is your right to vote guaranteed in the Constitution?
Probably for ID holders.
No,
not just for
it's not.
Body.
It's not. Is your right to vote?
Oh, I mean, no, it's not in the Constitution because the 13th Amendment alone takes away your right to vote.
Your right to vote is guaranteed in the Constitution. So putting ID restrictions in place for somebody to vote is fundamentally against the Constitution. Do you know it's people that's alive right now that was born before they instituted driver's license? Was born before they institute, you have to have.
How is that necessarily the case? What does the law say about voting?
So
that just everybody on this land can go vote.
So let's say your grandmother, right? She might be 85 years old, right?
I don't want to talk about my grandmother.
No, but no,
I want to talk about every human being. How does it say that fundamentally their right is
if you're
to be able to vote?
If you're a citizen of America, you have the right to vote.
So if you're not,
if you're a citizen of America, though, you don't have to have an ID.
You don't have to have an ID. If you get pulled over right now and you don't have hold on, let me finish.
How do you prove that you're a citizen of America to go vote though?
Let me finish. If you're a citizen of America, if you get pulled over right now and you don't have an ID on it, can they lock you up for not having an ID?
I don't know.
They can't.
If you get pulled over, yes.
No, they cannot.
Yes, they can.
So he does not have to have an ID on him. He can know his driver's license number by saying, look it up in the computer.
It
is no law.
I mean, you would never get locked up for driving without a license.
But you're not going to get locked up for going to go vote.
Hold on. So
what they will do is give your ass a ticket until you get the fuck out.
And that's what I'm saying. But they don't got to let you do the thing that you're trying to do. You ain't got to drive just like you ain't going to vote.
If you walked out of this house right now and you decide I want to walk to the gas station, right? You don't got no ID, nothing on you, and the police pull up on you and ask you for an ID and you say I don't have one, can they lock you up?
No, but you're asking about getting locked up.
Can you go buy some backwoods? Can you go buy some backwoods?
You just can't vote.
Can you go buy some backwoods?
They're not locking you up.
But is it illegal to be in America and not have identification? It's not.
Nobody said it was illegal. All we're saying is if you don't have the proper identification to do something, you can't do it.
But we have to frame the argument the right way.
Can you go to the liquor store and go buy liquor without an ID?
We're talking about voting. It
actually is illegal to be an adult and walk around without an identification.
It is not illegal.
Why isn't it?
It is not illegal.
So the police be lying when they say that?
Yes, very much so.
Hold on.
I figured that too.
Let's slow down because we're going off the deep end, right?
I really want to talk about that because that matters. Because there are people who think if the police approach you and say,
because we're talking about voting, right?
We're not putting this in perspective, Cohen. And you like to do this.
No, I'm actually putting it in perspective.
If I go and try to buy a bottle of Old English,
we're talking about voting, not buying liquor.
Be quiet. No, because you just
did that. You just did that. You just did that. You gave all these different contexts that weren't voting. So don't say he can't do that.
No, I'm talking about whether you the things you need to have an ID to do and not do.
Dog,
you just basically say you don't gotta exist.
Can you join the military without an ID?
I'm talking about voting.
Can you buy alcohol without an ID?
You can vote.
Can you drive without an ID?
Why can't you vote?
Yeah,
you can't do these other things.
Okay,
you actually
can't.
Yes,
if you get pulled over and you don't have an ID,
you can.
If you don't have a valid driver's license,
you can say you're traveling.
If you don't have a valid driver's license,
you actually can.
I've
seen the Turtle Island niggas do it. It's been proven. You can do it.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Them niggas will get you set up and
they gonna get you set up. But technically, you can say you're traveling.
You can do it. You can do it.
That is legal.
It's legal. You can do it.
And the police are like, "Well, travel your ass on about that seat and have somebody either come pick your car or we can get you a tow truck. But you ain't driving."
But that's debatable.
You gotta have the right tags for the car.
I know a nigga with a fucking.
It's not only about the license. It's about the registration as well. You can't drive this vehicle because this vehicle is not permitted.
It's a nigga around my life, nigga. You bullshit. I seen a nigga do it with my own.
But if you did this shit,
I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it till I saw it.
Listen, if you do this shit properly, meaning your vehicle is properly registered, which means it's not registered to the state for them to necessarily own it and be able to take it away from you, but you have private tags as well. You can drive your private vehicle without a license through these states. Yes, you can.
Okay,
you can do it. So
you just got.
So we're gonna keep it. Like I said, we're gonna keep in context, right? So it's plenty of things you can do in this country and not have an ID. Your right to vote is guaranteed in the Constitution. In the Constitution, it does not say right to vote with ID. It has a right to vote. So these laws fundamentally go against the Constitution. Like why I gave the example of an 85-year-old person.
But this is
I'm not finished.
That's 4 mandates.
I'm not finished. A lot of people were actually born. Like some people, like they born in a country hospital. They don't got birth certificate. They don't got shit, right? But that when they go buy shit at the store, they bought a house. They paying taxes. If you're paying taxes, you should have the right to vote in this country. That's how I feel about it. But don't let the argument get framed that, oh, we always need an ID to do things. An ID is proper. No, it's not. Your rights as American citizens are not guaranteed of your ability
that wasn't
to
my
go.
Question.
No. I wasn't answering your question. I'm laying out
now I want to ask
point
you
to
a question.
understand. Like it's not guaranteed on your ability to go to the DMV to get a driver's license.
So my question
non-driver's
becomes,
ID. Your right to vote is not contingent on that.
The things that they say are contingent upon being citizens. Do you need proof of citizenship to be able to do?
If you were registered
like
to vote,
for example, to go to school. You can go to public school as long as you're a United States citizen. Do you have to show some type of documentation
can you
to
vote
prove
without,
that you're a United States citizen to then go to that public school?
Can you
so
vote?
what I'm saying is, how did they then say that you can vote without proof of identification that you are a United States citizen? No, you got registered.
I think the more pressure. Why do you care?
Can you vote without being registered?
Why do you care?
Can you vote without being registered?
But listen, when you register to vote,
can you vote without being registered to vote?
No, you can't. You have to register. Listen, but to answer that, when you register, they give you an identification. So that's why I understand what the issue is.
So we talk about how
you have to have a voter registration.
You got it. They give you a voter registration. That's an ID. So why are we so mad that you gotta get an ID? I have my voter registration card. I have one.
Where do they send it?
What do you mean?
Where do they send it? How do you get it?
I don't even know. I don't remember.
You get it?
I don't remember. I got it a long time ago when I was 18.
In the mail at your house. How do you get your voter registration card?
So all you have to do then is fight for laws that just say you can, after I register, you can now give it to me.
How do you establish citizenship? Can you vote without registering to vote?
No.
At the moment you register to vote, you establish your citizenship because it's tied to you living here.
Right, but do you understand?
So what I'm saying
is, do you understand?
They give you a voter registration card. So why are you mad that then you have to show it?
In the Voting Rights Act,
that's all that is. That's an example of an identification. So when you register to vote, if they give you a voter registration card and you just prove that you are now a United States citizen, then get another one. The same way when you have a driver's license, you can lose the shit and you got to get another one to drive.
Yeah, actually, you don't.
Wow. Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
If you know your
just because you know your driver's license number does not mean you do not still need to get an identification.
If you're a registered driver,
then know your registration number and then prove it when you get there.
You don't have to have the card.
So know your registration number.
So what if I know my voter? If I know my
then let's fight for that law. Let's fight for the law that we just have to remember our voter registration number. Let's not fight for a law that say we don't gotta have one at all.
I'm just saying we gotta talk about the facts.
So based off that fact, now what is your argument? And that's not vote that we gotta remember our voter registration number, because you damn sure gotta remember your driver's license number.
But
yes or no? Is that your argument now? Or do you still not have to show nothing?
My argument is
anybody can just go vote.
My argument is your right to drive is not guaranteed in the Constitution.
And it has nothing to do
with
that.
Has nothing to do with my question. You know how you like to not skirt questions?
I'm answering. The right to drive is not guaranteed in the Constitution. Your right to vote is guaranteed in the Constitution. It's not contingent on ID. It doesn't say, Kurt, you can vote if you can prove anything.
ID to drive either.
Kurt, so you can't go back around to your original argument to
you just changed it. I never said that.
I didn't change anything.
Yes,
I'm saying your right to drive is not guaranteed in the Constitution. Your right to vote is guaranteed in the Constitution with no equivocations. Not if you can. Not if you have
with no equivocations either. They don't say with a driver's license.
The only thing it says of your citizen.
It's a privilege, but it don't say with a driver's license.
It's a citizen, right? And once you register to vote, that establishes your citizenship. So all of the things that they add on top of that are voter suppression things, because you don't have to prove that.
Can I ask a new question?
Of that, and
you don't gotta overtalk me. Let me ask a new question.
The instances of actual voter fraud do not.
So new question. United States citizens are people born on the United States. You can't vote till you're 18. So does that mean everybody from birth to 18 can just vote too?
You just said they can't.
No, I didn't just say they can.
But so,
I didn't say that. You just said that I said that. I didn't say that.
You just said that. You said
I said what they are. I said they are United States citizens.
And then said no, they can't, because they're not 18 or citizens.
I tell you what.
But the rule says United States citizens can vote according to you.
Listen, let's switch gears.
It's still a voting age, though.
Let's switch gears.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is there's still stipulations. So don't just say if you are a United States citizen, you can vote. It's that simple.
A United States citizen of voting age. A fucking toddler can't vote. A 7-year-old can't vote.
Apparently they voted for Biden, but anyway, let's be honest.
QAnon.
Hey, listen. Okay, so listen.